While the world debates whether India will become a superpower, $1.4 trillion is already being poured into concrete, steel, and ambition. 10 massive projects are rising right now, and if even half succeed, the global power map will never look the same. You've seen the headlines about India's growth, but what you haven't seen is what's actually being built beneath those numbers. But before we dive in, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. I subscribe. And I'll personally welcome you into the family. With that said, let's get started. Meet Rajesh. He's a 34-year-old engineer from Mumbai who worked on the city's original metro system. For 15 years, he watched his city suffocate in traffic. "I used to tell my daughter we'd go to the beach on weekends," he told me. "But 3 hours in traffic? We stopped going." In 2023, Rajesh joined the team working on the Mumbai Coastal Road project. When he saw the blueprints, everything changed. "I understood, this isn't about roads. It's about reclaiming time stolen from 20 million people." But the coastal road is just number 10 on our list. What comes before it will shock you even more. Project 10, Mumbai Coastal Road. Mumbai loses $2.3 billion every year. Not to corruption. Not to natural disasters. To traffic. A 2022 McKinsey study calculated the productivity lost when 20 million people spend half their lives sitting in cars, breathing exhaust, missing their kids' childhoods. The Mumbai Coastal Road is a 29.2-kilometer engineering monster that cuts through this problem, literally. It's being built partially underground, partially on reclaimed land torn from the Arabian Sea itself. When complete, it will turn 2-hour commutes into 20-minute drives. Priya knows what that means. She's a nurse at Bandra Hospital. "I used to miss my son's school plays because of traffic. Every single one. He stopped asking me to come. But I can actually be a mother and a professional." But here's the hidden danger no one's talking about. Environmental activists are raising alarm bells about the reclaimed land. A 2024 study from IIT Bombay showed a 12% subsidence risk in reclaimed coastal zones, meaning during monsoon season, parts of this road could literally sink. The first phase opened in January 2024. Traffic in test zones dropped by 34%. But every time Priya drives that road, somewhere in the back of her mind, she wonders, is this concrete floating or sinking? Still, if you think reshaping Mumbai's coastline is ambitious, wait until you see what's happening in the desert. Project 9, Dollara Smart City. Imagine a city twice the size of Mumbai rising from barren land in Gujarat. A city that doesn't exist yet but already has 22 countries investing in it. That's $90 billion. 920 square kilometers. Planned for 2 million residents by 2040. The World Economic Forum named it one of 9 urban projects that will transform Asia in their 2023 report. This isn't a neighborhood. It's not even a city. It's an experiment in whether humans can design the perfect urban environment from absolute scratch. Amit believed in that experiment before anyone else. He's 28 now, a software developer who bought land in Dollara in 2021 when his friends called him insane. Land was $12 per square foot. People laughed at me. Now it's $147. But here's the thing, Amit isn't selling. I'm building. I'm betting my future that this empty desert becomes the next Bangalore. The infrastructure being laid is science fiction becoming reality. 100% renewable energy. IoT-enabled traffic systems that predict congestion before it happens. Underground waste collection. Autonomous vehicle lanes already being paved for cars that don't even exist yet. But there's a problem. A big one. As of October 2024, only 22% of planned infrastructure is actually complete. Japanese investors pulled $230 million in March 2024, citing construction delays and broken promises. Critics say Dollara is India's most expensive ghost town. Supporters say it's the blueprint for every future city on Earth. Right now, it's both. But building a new city is one thing. Connecting an entire nation? That's something else entirely. Project 8, Bharatmala Pariyojana. 97,000 kilometers of highways. Let that number sink in. That's enough asphalt to circle the entire Earth 2.4 times. And every single kilometer is being built right now. The economic impact is staggering. This highway network is expected to reduce logistics costs by 28%, adding $83 billion to India's GDP annually, according to a 2023 Niti Aayog projection. For a country where 40% of produce rots before reaching markets, this isn't luxury, it's survival. Suresh has been driving trucks for 23 years. The Delhi-Chennai route is his life. In 2010, that route took 6 days. Constant breakdowns on broken roads. Bribes at every toll booth. I'd sleep in my truck with one eye open. He pauses, and for the first time in our conversation, he smiles. Now, 52 hours. I sleep in my own bed twice a week. I met my grandson the day he was born. But here's what Suresh doesn't talk about: the 47,000 families who were displaced so those highways could be built. In 2023, land acquisition protests in Haryana turned violent. Farmers torched construction equipment. Police used water cannons. The government's response was actually surprising. New compensation packages now include skill training and job placement programs. A 2024 Ministry of Road Transport study found that 73% of displaced families reported income increases within 2 years of relocation. This isn't just about roads. It's about erasing the economic divide between urban and rural India, 1 kilometer at a time. But what good are roads if your phone dies every time you leave the city? That's where Project 7 comes in. Project 7, BharatNet Rural Internet. In 2020, 68% of rural India had no internet access. That's 600 million people, twice the population of the United States, living in the digital dark ages while cities experience the future. BharatNet is an $8.5 billion mission to run fiber optic cables to all 600,000 Indian villages by 2025. Not satellite internet. Not mobile hotspots. Actual fiber optics that deliver the same speeds to a remote Rajasthan village that Manhattan gets. Lakshmi is 45, a vegetable farmer in rural Karnataka. Her story is one I can't stop thinking about. In 2022, middlemen came to my farm and paid me 8 rupees per kilo for tomatoes. I found out later they sold them in Bangalore for 40 rupees. But what could I do? I had no way to know the real price. No way to reach customers directly. April 2023. BharatNet reached her village. Everything changed. I sell direct to customers now via WhatsApp. I get 32 rupees per kilo. My daughter is studying engineering. Engineering? Her mother can barely read. A 2024 Stanford University study tracked villages before and after BharatNet connection. The data is remarkable. 43% average increase in household income within 18 months. Not from government handouts. From information. From access. From finally having the same tools urban India takes for granted. But here's the reality check. As of September 2024, only 38% of planned villages are actually connected. Corruption and contractor failures plague the project. Some cables are being laid in trenches that wash away every monsoon. When it works, though, it doesn't just connect villages to the internet. It connects them to hope. Now, if you think fiber optics are impressive, imagine connecting India to 3 continents, underwater. Project 6, India Middle East Europe Corridor. The announcement came at the G20 summit in September 2023, and geopolitical experts immediately understood this isn't just infrastructure. This is India's chess move against China's Belt and Road Initiative. The India Middle East Europe Corridor is an ambitious network combining ships and rail to connect Mumbai to the UAE to Saudi Arabia to Jordan to Israel to Greece and finally to Europe. It will cut shipping time by 40%, from 28 days to just 17. The economic implications are massive. The U.S. State Department projects this corridor could carry $3 trillion in trade annually by 2035. Vikram gets it. He's a 39-year-old textile exporter from Surat. My Chinese competitors beat me on delivery time. They ship to Europe in 22 days. We take 30. In business, 8 days is the difference between winning a contract and losing it. He leans forward. This corridor? We finally win. But here's where it gets fascinating. This project will create the first integrated rail network through Arab nations in modern history. It could reshape regional politics as much as regional economics. There's just one massive problem: Israel. The October 2023 Gaza conflict put the entire project on indefinite pause. As of December 2023, there's been no official progress whatsoever. Right now, the India-Middle East Europe corridor exists only on paper and in diplomatic handshakes. But if it happens, if somehow peace breaks out and construction begins, the global trade map gets redrawn entirely. While diplomats negotiate trade routes, though, scientists are building something that could feed 600 million people. Project 5. River Interlinking Project. 600 million Indians face high to extreme water stress. That's what the 2023 Niti Aayog report concluded. 43% of India's population living with the constant fear that turning on a tap might produce nothing. The River Interlinking Project is engineering on a scale that seems impossible. The plan: connect 60 major rivers across India, transferring 178 billion cubic meters of water from regions that flood every year to regions that haven't seen rain in months. The cost? $168 billion. That's larger than Portugal's entire GDP. Picture canals so wide you could sail cargo ships through them, stretching from the snowmelt rivers of the Himalayas all the way to the parched fields of Tamil Nadu. Ramesh is 61. He's a cotton farmer in Vidarbha, a region that became globally infamous for farmer suicides. I watched my neighbors drink pesticide because the rain didn't come. For friends. For funerals. Gone because clouds forgot to form. His voice breaks, then hardens. The Ken-Betwa Link project started in 2022, 15 kilometers from my village. For the first time in 8 years, I'm planting summer crops. My son isn't leaving for the city. He's staying. He's farming. But here's where this gets controversial. A 2024 study by the Wildlife Institute of India warns this project threatens the habitats of 42 endangered species. It could displace 1.5 million people. Entire ecosystems will be permanently altered. Some hydrologists argue there's a better way: massive rainwater harvesting combined with drip irrigation. It's cheaper, less disruptive, and works with nature instead of against it. Environmentalists call the River Interlinking Project ecological suicide. Engineers call it human survival. And here's the terrifying truth: both might be right. But there's one element more critical than water, and India is about to dominate it globally. Project 4. Green Hydrogen Mission. $2.4 billion in government investment. The goal: make India the world's largest green hydrogen producer by 2030. If you don't know what green hydrogen is, here's the simple version. It's hydrogen fuel produced using renewable energy, creating zero carbon emissions. It's the holy grail of clean energy, if it can be done at scale. India's target is ambitious, bordering on insane: 5 million tons of annual production by 2030, which would reduce carbon emissions by 50 million tons according to the National Green Hydrogen Mission's 2023 projections. Anil is 34. He works at Reliance's Jamnagar refinery, the largest in the world. I've worked here 12 years. Diesel, petrol, jet fuel, I know every process. In 2024, they started installing hydrogen production equipment. They told us something that kept me awake at night. In 10 years, this refinery might not process oil at all. The European Union plans to import 10 million tons of hydrogen by 2030. India is positioning itself to supply 30% of that market. But there's a brutal reality: green hydrogen currently costs 3 times more than fossil fuels. It needs government subsidies just to compete. Without price reductions, this entire mission collapses. The International Energy Agency's 2024 report offers hope. They project green hydrogen costs will drop by 60% by 2030 as production scales up. Here's the irony that makes my brain hurt. India is betting its entire energy future on an element that's simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. Hydrogen makes up 75% of the universe, but it's incredibly difficult to store and transport. It's the most abundant element in existence and one of the hardest to use. While scientists solve hydrogen, though, engineers are solving something more immediate: how to move 5 million people a day underground. Project 3, Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. 1,386 kilometers. 8 lanes. 120 kilometers per hour speed limit. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway will cut travel time between India's political capital and its financial capital from 24 hours to just 12. This is India's most expensive highway ever built. $11 billion of concrete and steel connecting 6 states and 220 cities. Sahil is 29. He runs a cold storage business in Haryana, dealing primarily in dairy products. We lose 23% of our inventory to spoilage because transport takes too long. Milk doesn't care about traffic jams, it just rots. He pulls out a calculator. This expressway means I can reach Mumbai markets while the milk is still fresh. It's literally the difference between profit and bankruptcy. Here's something remarkable. This expressway has 500,000 LED smart lights powered entirely by solar panels. It's the first highway in Asia specifically designed for safe 24-hour high-speed travel. But construction came at a cost. 147 workers died building this road as of March 2024. Labor activists call it blood cement. Infrastructure built on the bodies of the poor. The government counters with different data. Accidents on completed sections are 67% lower than old highways. Automated emergency call boxes every 2 kilometers mean help arrives in minutes, not hours. There's even an environmental win buried in here. 8 wildlife corridors were built underneath the expressway specifically for animal crossings. Tiger movement tracking shows 89% of big cats use these tunnels rather than risking the highway. As of October 2024, this expressway is 92% complete. By the time you're watching this video, you might actually be able to drive the whole thing. But here's the real question. What if you could make that same journey in 2 hours instead of 12? That brings us to Project 2. Project 2, Bullet Train Mumbai-Ahmedabad. 320 kilometers per hour. That's faster than a Formula 1 race car. India's first bullet train will cover 508 kilometers in just 2 hours and 7 minutes. The technology comes from Japan's Shinkansen system, trains that have transported 10 billion passengers over 60 years with zero, and I mean absolutely zero, crash fatalities. But here's the controversy: $17 billion for 508 kilometers. That's $33.5 million per kilometer, making this one of the most expensive railway projects on Earth. Neha is a 27-year-old fashion designer who splits her time between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. I currently have 2 options: fly for 5,000 Indian rupees, plus 3 hours of airport hell. Or take a train for 500 Indian rupees that takes 8 hours. She laughs. The bullet train? 2 hours, 3,000 Indian rupees. People think it's about transportation. It's not. It's time travel. I get back 6 hours of my life every trip. But 7 years after the announcement, only 62% of required land has been acquired. Protests, legal battles, compensation disputes. In some villages, farmers have physically blocked surveyors from entering their fields. The Mumbai Underground section alone is a nightmare. Tunneling beneath one of the world's most densely built cities requires 89 separate structural clearances. Every building, every utility line, every ancient drainage system, all mapped, all navigated, all preserved while boring tunnels 30 meters underground. A 2024 Oxford University study analyzed bullet train systems across Asia. The findings: on average, bullet trains boost economic activity in connected cities by 34% within just 5 years of operation. Not because of the trains themselves, but because when cities are suddenly 2 hours apart instead of 8, they effectively become one massive economic zone. The original completion date was 2022. Then 2024. Now it's projected for 2028. But here's why people still believe it might actually happen: Japan's involvement. The Japanese government is providing both technology and oversight. And Japan doesn't do half-finished projects. India is spending $17 billion to prove something to itself and to the world. that it can build infrastructure that works, that it can deliver on promises. If this bullet train succeeds, 8 more corridors are already planned: Delhi-Varanasi, Delhi-Ahmedabad, Mumbai-Nagpur. But there's one project so massive, so technically insane, it makes bullet trains look simple. Project 1. Sagarmala Maritime Mega Reform. This is not one project. Not 10. 574 separate projects modernizing every major port in India. $120 billion investment spread across 2 decades. Let me put that number in perspective. That's the equivalent of building 7 bullet trains, or $10 smart cities, or 122 Mumbai coastal roads. Here's why it matters. 70% of global trade by value moves by sea. But India's ports are outdated, inefficient, and expensive. Singapore's port can handle a 40-foot container in 48 hours. Indian ports take 7 to 9 days, according to the World Bank's 2023 Logistics Performance Index. Sagarmala is changing everything. Deep water ports that can handle massive cargo ships. Automated cranes that never sleep. Direct rail connectivity so containers go from ship to train without touching a truck. Coastal shipping routes that move cargo between Indian cities by sea instead of clogging highways. Joseph is 52. He's worked at Chennai port for 28 years. In the 1990s, we loaded ships by hand. Our backs broke. People died from accidents, crushed by cargo, falls, machinery. In 2023, they installed automated cranes. Now 6 operators sitting in air-conditioned control rooms do what 200 men used to do manually. He stops. I kept my job. They retrained me on the computer systems. But 140 of my friends didn't. They're driving autorickshaws now or working construction. Progress has a price and we paid it. The economic projections are staggering. Sagarmala is expected to create 4 million jobs and add $110 billion to GDP by 2035, according to a 2024 Ministry of Ports report. But 115 fishing villages will be directly affected by port expansions. Families who have fished the same waters for generations will watch container ships replace fishing boats. The government's rehabilitation packages include new boats, modern equipment, and housing. But can you compensate someone for erasing their entire way of life? The environmental cost is severe. A 2023 study by the National Center for Coastal Research documented a 31% reduction in coastal fish populations near 4 megaports. 23 marine biodiversity zones are under direct construction threat. But here's what this is really about: strategy. China's string of pearls strategy surrounded India with ports in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. Every one of those ports gives China a foothold in India's backyard. Sagarmala is India's answer. It's saying, this is our ocean. The Indian Ocean isn't named after us as a historical accident. We're going to make it reality. As of October 2024, the progress report is mixed. 178 projects completed, 249 under construction, 147 still in planning stages. And this is absolutely a massive if, all 574 projects complete by 2035, India won't just be a regional power. It will control the ocean that carries 90% of Europe's energy imports and 80% of China's trade. That's not infrastructure. That's geopolitical domination. 10 projects. Over $400 billion. Millions of jobs. Entire landscapes being reshaped. But here's what those numbers don't tell you. Remember Rajesh? The engineer from Mumbai who helped build the coastal road? Last month, he drove his daughter to the beach. 22 minutes from their home. They watched the sunset together. She's 9 years old. It was the first time she'd ever seen a sunset on a weekday because they finally had time. Lakshmi, the farmer from Karnataka with the tomatoes? Her daughter starts engineering college next month. First person in their family to attend university. That's not happening without BharatNet giving Lakshmi access to fair prices and information. Joseph, the port worker who lost 140 friends to automation? He's now the lead trainer for the automated crane operators at Chennai port. Same job, different era. He's teaching 22-year-olds how to do in 8 hours what used to take him 16. These projects aren't making India a superpower. These people are. The concrete, the steel, the fiber optics. They're just tools. They're giving people a chance they never had before. But here's the question that keeps me up at night, and I need you to really think about this. India is spending nearly $500 billion betting it can build its way to superpower status. Some say it's visionary leadership. Others call it reckless gambling with the futures of 1.4 billion people. Farmers are being displaced. Workers are being replaced by machines. Ancient ecosystems are being permanently altered. Traditional ways of life are disappearing. But that engineer gets to watch sunsets with his daughter. That farmer's daughter is becoming an engineer. That port worker isn't loading cargo anymore. He's teaching the future. If you had to choose, and this is a real choice that India is making right now, would you pick slow, steady growth that protects every village, every tradition, every way of life exactly as it is? Or would you choose rapid, disruptive transformation that might leave some people behind but could lift 500 million out of poverty? Which India would you build? Comment tradition or transformation, and then tell me why. Because this isn't just a YouTube debate. This is actually happening. Right now. While you're watching this video, somewhere in India, a bulldozer is clearing land, a crane is lifting steel, a fiber optic cable is being buried. Your generation, whether you're Indian or not, will live with the consequences of these choices. And if you want to know which 3 of these 10 projects are most likely to fail catastrophically, and why that failure might actually be good news for India's future, I'll make that video if this hits 50,000 likes. The data I've found will completely change how you think about infrastructure and development. The timer's running. India's building. And the whole world is watching to see if ambition and concrete can actually create a superpower. What's your answer?